was my race, my pace, what you heard me say.
Yep, that's right.
I was just moving. I wasn't trying to move fast, wasn't trying to get a mile of distance. It was just moving. And then with the soul care, that was something where it took a lot more effort for me because I'm such a natural encourager and motivator. I wanted to do stuff like for my 10 minutes, let me call Deal and encourage her. That's not self-care. That's not self-soul care.
That's right.
So me wanting to do what came normal was to be willing to serve somebody else. And so I had to be more intentional with that part. And I still have to be really intentional with that part with the soul care. I even struggle with what does caring for my own soul look like. And then I started to find stuff that ministered to my emotions or to my mind, which is a part of the soul. So whether it's me listening to something 10 minutes that's motivational, and I'm not knocking inspirational, but it couldn't be church related. It had to be something empowering for my mind. And so that's what it looked like for me to begin with.
And you sort of talked about it, but one of the other questions that I had for you, you talked about how you're still working through knowing how to care for your soul. Has there been anything else that's been challenging for you as you have committed to the Love Yourself Challenge?
The commitment and the consistency is much easier for me, but I'd be lying to say that, I hit the mark every day. I can go a whole month and not miss anything. And then I can get all thrown off, whether it's busyness at work or something going on, with ministry or something else that just pulls on you. Or in the month of February, when we actually kicked off the Love Yourself Challenge this year, only a few people knew it, but I had actually the same day the Love Yourself Challenge 2022 kicked off, been diagnosed with COVID and was baffled because it was like, I don't even go anywhere. How'd I get it? But thank God I was still able to show up, but there was some post-COVID fatigue that set in. And so just working through whether it's sickness or illness or challenges of life that really are legitimate responsibilities, I have to be careful and intentional, Dia, to stay committed consistently because I will rearrange, I got to do this for work and my husband needs this, or I got to keep the grandbabies. I was planning to rest or whatever the case may be. I have to be intentional because the challenge continues to be staying consistent where it's sustainable. And I want to say that some of the ladies from this year, and I'll tell you about the impact this year, were like, this is so good. We don't want it to just be February. And so what started out as the Love Yourself Challenge has now grown into the Love Yourself Commitment. And the Love Yourself Commitment is where we are supporting each other beyond that 1 month to say, hey, Nita, what is it that you're staying committed to? How can I support you? What is it that you can support me with? And so we have formed Love Yourself Commitment circles, and it's ladies that say, I need the extra support. I want to help support you. And we're doing a pilot now, but isn't it amazing that something that I didn't think anybody would be interested in is now growing into a bigger movement? We're moving from the challenge, which is the kickoff, into the commitment, which is how we learn to have a lifestyle.
Yes. And I love that. I love how we have these ideas that are truly bigger than ourselves. And and it takes courage to voice it to other people when you already feel like you said, this is just something for me. Other people aren't going to care. It takes courage, but when you do, you don't even realize the impact it can have on so many others. So I think that's wonderful. I myself joined the Love Yourself Challenge, and I will be honest, I struggle myself because I literally, especially these last few weeks, and I've overcome quite a few hard, shifts the beginning of this year with, deaths in the family and stuff like that. And so getting back on my rhythm has been difficult. And so I find myself going the whole day, the whole week, and all I've been doing is just moving. I've just been moving till I crash to sleep. And so even this conversation is reminding me that, Dia, you got to take that time, girl. It's important.
Yes, and one of the things we learned, Dia, and I do want to disclose something to the audience too, and we'll talk about 2022 in a second. But one of the things, remember, is I teach on putting your own oxygen mask on first, and
Yes,
how
yes.
that became a reality to me sitting on an airplane. It was a business trip, so I didn't have a child with me, but looking over as the airline stewardess was, displaying, in the event of emergency, put your own oxygen mask on first. And I'm looking at, this parent with what seems to be her child and saying, would she really do that? Would I really put an
Mm,
oxygen mask on me before my child? And that thing just stuck with me. And I ended up having some
mm.
conversations. And I'm actually writing what's called the Love Yourself Challenge Guide. That book will be out. Y'all pray for me to go ahead and finish it and not just with
Yes.
everything else. But I talk about the putting your oxygen mask on first. And now, Dia, every time I find myself getting off rhythm too much or putting me too far at the bottom, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yes,
Because the reality of the rhetorical question that I asked myself that day on the airplane was, if that mother, that parent, even if you or I don't put our oxygen mask on first, we can't breathe or help our child. We can't help save our
that's
child.
right.
And so
That's
putting your
right.
own oxygen mask on first, literally, or even metaphor, how do you say the word? Even metaphorically,
Metaphorically. Mm-hmm.
yes, is really important and essential to how we show up and serve others. And so even
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm reminding myself, did you put your oxygen mask on first? Because if you can't breathe, you can't help others. And so just
Right.
remind yourself when you find yourself getting too off rhythm or too out of prioritizing yourself, this is essential to me being able to help others.
That's good. Thank you for that reminder. Seriously, because that's good. And I remember hearing you say that before, and that it's a good reminder that you're
Yes.
right.
Hmm.
If you're not taking care of self, you're not good to others.
Right.
I
Right.
even would listen to these little segments that would come on the radio station I like to listen to sometimes, and they would have the caregiver minute, and it would talk about to caregivers and how it would encourage caregivers. You have to give yourself some time to take care of yourself, because you
Yeah.
can't take care of that person if you're not taking care of yourself. So
Right.
I love that. And you've talked a little bit about this as well, but what has been the most rewarding thing about starting the Love Yourself Challenge?
You used this word earlier, and I'll use it again: the impact. And the impact, we went from last year, me just a few days before February 2021, saying no more perfectionism, no more self-sabotaging. I'm doing this. The impact was great, to doing it again this year. Dear, we had 92 ladies to join us for the 2022
Wow.
Love Yourself Challenge, the
That
impact.
is
And they were from multiple states. They heard about it from multiple people. It wasn't all people that I knew. Some of them knew our keynote guest speakers.
wow.
Some of them knew some of the other ladies that invited them and encouraged them to come. And just the most rewarding has been the impact, to see ladies really getting it the same way
Yes.
that I got it, to see that it is okay. It should be a priority, not a sacrifice, to serve yourself, to love yourself, to care for yourself. And just today, the young lady who you're referencing in LA called me about an hour before this recording and said, "Hey, Minister Alicia, I want to share with you." And she shared that she decided she wants to start a Love Yourself commitment circle in Los Angeles. So she posted
Wow.
something yesterday and already have 8 people from the community, diverse 8 people
Wow.
that want to join the Love Yourself. And she introduced it and made reference to me and the idea that I had. And so something that started as an idea for God to show me and teach me about how much He loves me and how much He wants me to love
Mm-hmm.
myself has now become not only nationally, but we actually had a young lady from Kenya to join the challenge this
Wow.
year internationally. And she, even just like you, submitted a video about the impact that it had on her. And I just sat there in awe, inspired myself. And I want to inspire somebody now, no matter what the idea is. And to me, that's part of loving yourself too. When you find time to do those things that you have passion for,
Yes.
everything, even when we are married, everything that shouldn't become, okay, whatever my husband's ideas and my husband
Mm-hmm.
is, that becomes my identity. There are things that I have passion for that don't mean anything to my husband. Doesn't mean they're unimportant,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not part of his calling. And so I want to see
Mm-hmm.
ladies like
That's
me and
good.
you and us to continue to love ourselves enough to say, God gave me this vision, and I know I can't not support my husband, but I have to carve out time to do what matters to me and what I know that I'm going to have to answer to God for. So I hope someone is encouraged not only to join us in loving yourself, but what is it that you are called to do? What is it that you've been sitting on? You've been suppressing, you've been self-sabotaging to say, I don't have time, because time really is a matter of interest.
Yes. Oh man, you've just preached the sermon. I think we can close up right now. Oh man, that was good. That was good. Ooh, I'm telling you, you're feeding me right now. I don't know about anybody. I hope that you guys that are watching are like feeling up, because I am. I'm like, woo, this is so good. Well, I want to keep moving forward with the questions. So, in these challenging times, you just talked about like not sitting on things that we know that are a desire in our heart. And I know that right now it's challenging times, and sometimes it's just a struggle to even stop to just find peace. Just period. And so my question to you is, what advice or recommendation would you provide to any of the viewers that are watching that are just struggling to just find that peace?
I'll share my own journey with that. And none of us are exempt from challenges and pressures of life and stress and disappointments. And even you made mention of, things that we can't control, the death of a loved one, whether it's expected or unexpected. There's still a process to go through to heal from that, right? And I have personally determined that there are several things that are what called fruit of the spirit, gifts to me, that I'm never, ever again going to push to the side. And those are hope, because hope is my soul. Never lose your hope. And that is another one is joy, because that is my strength. Never lose your joy. I don't care what's going on, what you're dealing with. Stay joyful. And you may say, well, I just lost my loved one, or I just lost my job, or whatever the situation may be. Joy is internal, and God is our sense of joy, our source of joy, excuse me. And so it's this joy that I have, the world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. I can give it away. I can suppress it, but hope anchors my soul. And I say to myself, no matter how bad, how ugly it is, this too shall pass.
Yes.
I'll sing, make up a song about joy to restore your joy. And that love, that there is a love from God, and there's nothing I can do, nothing I can experience that can ever separate me from his love. His love will sustain us. And where energy goes, energy flows. And so I can put my energy into hope, joy, and love, or I can put my energy into the situation, the circumstances. And that's where you get into, so a man thinketh, so is he. Okay, here are the facts. This is what's happened. This is what I can do about it. This is what I can't do about it. Those are the facts. But the truth is that my God shall supply all my needs. So whatever it is I'm going, you can find something that will be a promise to you to sustain you even through the storm. So he'll be my very present help. He'll never leave me. He said he'll be with me always. You can find something, and it's a matter of choice. And I'm not minimizing what someone may be going through right now, dear.
Yes.
It really does become mind over matter. So a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And I just made up in my mind that no matter what, I'm going to find the good in it. I'm not going to let go of my hope, my joy, and my peace.
Amen. I love that. And I love the scripture that says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Yes. And me and my cousin, we started flipping around and saying, the strength of the Lord is my joy.
Oh, so I love it.
I constantly find myself saying that when hard times come, the joy of the Lord is my strength, and the strength of the Lord is my joy.
I love it.
I remember when I was attending St. Peter's, and they would have the encounters. I remember there was one thing I remembered that I can actually remember from one of the encounters I had attended. And one of the ladies, she said, we have a choice. When we leave this place, we have a choice whether we keep our peace or we give it away. Make a choice to keep it. And I remember that, and I constantly have that always playing in my mind. You have the choice to keep it or give it away. Make the choice to keep it.
Yes. And again, I don't want to minimize it, but it's
Yes.
actually Lady Joy, who taught me. And I remember one time hearing her say, she quoted the scripture, "This is the day the Lord has made. I choose to rejoice."
Yes.
Glad it, and she put emphasis on choose, and she went on to say in spite of, and that thing hit me. And from that day to this one, it was like, I choose to rejoice and be glad in spite of, against all odds, no matter what. And it really is mind over matter to how we deal with those struggles and peace. And for those who may even be listening to this saying, that sounds easy for you all. I was once there where it was doom and gloom. My best friend who actually led me to St. Peter's, she was the first person to tell me every day, something wrong with you. If it ain't your finger hurting, it's this hurting. And I told her, well, don't ask me how I'm doing then if you don't want to hear the truth. And she was the one that taught me about the difference between facts and truth, and just through people that encouraged me to go higher and wouldn't, participate in my pity parties, and to say that in spite of what your facts are, you can choose to rejoice and be glad in this day. And I started finding the good in everything in spite of, and would like to encourage somebody else, no matter what you're going through. You may feel like, I don't know how to get out of this rut. I was once there too. And it really is a matter of changing your thoughts, because where the mind goes, the body, the heart, the emotions, the spirit man will follow. And that's what it means when it says, so a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
That is so good, Minister Alicia, because I think about when my brother passed. My brother passed back in 2008. He was murdered. And I remember when that happened, I struggled for a minute with being able to laugh. And I just felt like, how can I laugh when my brother is not here anymore? Like, that just felt wrong to me. And God reminded me of a couple of things. He reminded me, number one, that where my brother is, he doesn't even know what sadness is. He's like, he doesn't even remember or recall what it means to be sad. So why would he want you walking around just constantly moping and sad and not laughing and having joy? And then he also reminded me that very thing that you said, that Lady Joy had mentioned about, this is the day the Lord has made. I choose to rejoice and be glad in it. And he reminded me that my brother, as much as I love my brother didn't make my day. When I would have a hard time at work, my work didn't make my day. Relationships that failed, those people didn't make my day. None of those things made my day. God made that day. So I have to make a choice, because he gave me this day, that I have to choose, or I make a choice to rejoice in the day that he gave me, because everything around me it can change, except the fact that he gave me that day. So I choose to rejoice and be glad in it.
That's good. That is good.
This has been a really good conversation. I've loved this. Well, I hate to switch gears because it's been so good, but I want, before we, wrap things up, I want to talk a little bit about something that you and Pastor Michael have started that I think is amazing. And that is the Why I Don't Go to Church web series. And we know that, church and the evolution of church, especially in this day and time, has definitely went through some highs and some very low lows, and that people are like saying deuces to church, and, but you guys have decided to face that issue face it right head on by starting a series that literally is called Why I Don't Go to Church. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and what inspired you guys to be courageous enough to hit it head on.
It's funny you start this or finish that question with the word courageous, because I was going to say it really does take courage and commitment to love ourselves, to change, to deal with our internal struggles, and even courage to step out and to go against the norm, if you will, whether it's in loving yourself, pampering yourself, or even doing things differently in ministry. St. Peter's World Outreach Center is where I met my husband at and Bishop and Lady Joyce are still our pastors. We absolutely love them, and they have a life-changing ministry there. But out of that ministry, God led us out to start a ministry called Infusion Worship Church. And my husband is the pastor. My husband has always been so unorthodox in his thinking and his behavior. I was more the traditionalist, and the things that we're doing in Infusion Worship that I buy into are definitely a God thing, because I was just so in the box, just got to be this way. And I bless God for my husband, who is so non-traditional in wanting to reach people where they are versus expecting them to come into this box. And so God started dealing with him when the pandemic came about rethinking church, because as you said, so many people were falling to the wayside and not interested in church and hurt by the church and judging the church and so many things. And so he started the series called Rethinking Church, and challenging and encouraging people to become the church, to let their light shine in their neighborhoods and on their jobs, to be empowered and equipped to know that we are the hands and feet and the mouth of Jesus now. Through that series, I didn't actually do it, but we have an amazing team that supports our ministry. And he shared with them his heart on wanting to do something that kind of tied into the Rethinking Church series that would meet people, the unchurched and those that were suffering from church hurt, those that are in between, right? Not just your traditional church goer. And through that amazing staff, they came up with the idea of why I don't go to church as an entertaining way, but an empowering way to meet people where they are. And the characters are amazing. I love the characters. I have my favorite, even though all of them are amazing characters. But through that series, we've had people who are in the church and who aren't in the church, even some of the people that actually edit those shows in another country, to say, I have been blessed by the Why I Don't Go to Church series. But it was started as a way to get a conversation going, Dia, so that we could talk to people and meet them where they are.
I love that. And I love the series. I've been privileged enough to be a part of some of them. And I just find it amazing. I'm just like, it just, and you're right. Like, my lovely friend Cindy, the one who told me, who introduced me to Infusion Worship all the way in California, you know, she does an amazing job. And I just think that, it is amazing that you and Pastor Michael open it up for individuals in the church to be able to have the liberty to express these kinds of things, and to actually be passionate about it as well. And don't, you know, you take the caps off, take the limits off, and just say, well, let's brainstorm. What's the best way to get this communication out there about this? And then allow the creativity to flow. So I commend you guys. And I just think it's wonderful. I think it's awesome.
And it's a blessing that when you allow people to use the gifts that God put in them, how they really want to show up and serve in the church, versus us just saying, well, if you don't usher, and if you won't do this. And I'm not knocking those things, because we need all those things, but what are your passions, and how can your passions and your skills be useful in the church? And we're so blessed to have Cindy Lilly and so many others. She's a professional actor in LA that's throwing her time into this and giving of her talents, and even tapping into some of her fellow actors and actresses in Hollywood. So as you said, it's really been a blessing to me, who was more of a traditionalist, and I loved it from the beginning. But I can just tell you, Dia, 15, 20 years ago, I'd have been like, you know, that ain't right, of God and this and that. Rethinking Church has just opened us up to say that God's word will stay the same forever, but there will be new methods to reach people and to love people and to meet them where they are.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Minister Alicia. Well, as we wrap this up, I want anybody out there that's watching that says, how do I get involved with this? How can I find the why I don't go to church series? How do I get involved with the Love Yourself Challenge? Can you tell us a little bit how individuals can get a part of the challenge?
Yes, I'd encourage them to go out to our website to learn more about us as a ministry, infusionworship.com. They can send an email. The Love Yourself Commitment Circles are going to be small groups of ladies wherever
Yes.
you're located. We have virtual groups. We have groups that meet in person. We have some groups that are going to be meeting once a month. We have some groups that are just going to be sending out inspiration to each other. There's something for every lady that wants support in their Love Yourself commitment so that they can learn how to sustain and make it a priority versus it being a challenge and on again, off again. They can send an email to info@infusionworship.com and put LYC in the subject and provide their information. We're doing a pilot right now, Dia, the month of April, and we started in March and in May. And then we're going to be doing the kickoff of the Love Yourself Commitment Circles, and people will be assigned based off of their interests. Do they want to be virtual? Do they want to be in person? How much interaction that they want? We're going to try to set the groups up like that, but they'll be kicking off in June. So we love to have ladies from all over the country to join us. And ladies are even invited to become a Love Yourself circle leader once they've been in a group. So this is growing, and I just am so thankful that I finally said yes to a God idea.
That is awesome. Well, you guys, I encourage you, just like Minister Alicia said, go check out infusionworship.com and email Infusion Worship so that you can learn more about the Love Yourself circles. I know that you're going to be blessed. I know you're going to be blessed because I have truly been blessed myself. So Minister Alicia, thank you so much again. I appreciate your time, and I pray blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon you and Pastor Michael and your family. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And I extend that same blessing back to you, over you, your family, and what you're doing with your YouTube channel. I know you said even if it's just for you to learn, but be assured you are impacting others, not just yourself, but others are being impacted. And so blessings be upon you. Be encouraged to keep going, and always remember it's about quality, not quantity. You know, when you reach one and that one gets it and sends it on to someone else, that is the impact that we all desire. And I mentioned earlier about a disclosure I wanted to put out there. We forgot to mention that you were the 2022 Love Yourself Challenge winner.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to disclose this for her. We were already planning this. She didn't invite me to be on her show because she won. This was already scheduled.
I had no idea.
But if you haven't had a chance, you can go out to our Infusion Worship YouTube page and see all of the nominees that submitted, how the 2022 Love Yourself Challenge impacted them. We had a vote amongst the whole group. So it was a group nomination and selection of the 2022 Love Yourself Challenge champion. And Dia won an autographed copy of the Love Yourself Challenge. Guys, she'll get one of the first copies hot off the press. She won a Love Yourself t-shirt, and
I should have worn my t-shirt today.
I know I should have too. and a gift certificate. So you all connect with us because we're growing, and we're eventually going to do a Love Yourself 5K. We're already talking about a Love Yourself conference. So there is more to come, and it really is growing.
Ooh, I'm excited. Well, I will put the link to that video in our description. And again, thank you, Minister Alicia. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye, everybody.
Well, you guys, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Honestly, of all the conversations I've had so far, this has by far been my favorite. I literally in this room, although you can't see what's around me, I'm literally in my daughter's nursery. And in this room, I just feel so full from this conversation. And I pray that you feel just as full and have received whatever it is that you need today, because we are all worth it. We are all worth it. Your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, the desires that God has put inside of your heart, it is all worth it. So I just pray that you have been blessed by the Let's Chat conversation today. And listen, you guys, if you haven't not done so already, I want you to stop, take a moment, find a reason to laugh, and keep smiling. Until next time, and always, stay blessed.